All right. Which of the following is a vertical compression of x plus 8 in the absolute values? All right, so for a vertical compression, anything vertical is going to have to be done to the outside of the function. Like whenever you add or subtract on the outside, it moves it up and down. So it's got to be A or B. And since you're wanting to compress it vertically, it's going to be the fraction. All right, the number on the outside is going to have to be smaller than 1. Let's see here. The range of f of x is negative 8, comma 2. That just means that the lowest it reaches is negative 8, and the highest it reaches is 2. So it might look something like this. Negative 8 and 2. Okay. All right, the lowest that this made-up function goes down is negative 8, and the highest it reaches is 2. What is the range of this new thing? Well, this is being translated 6 to the left, which has no impact on the range. So you can ignore the 6. It has nothing to do with anything. And we're shifting it 3 units up. All right, so because we're moving it 3 up, both of these numbers are going to change. All right, we're going to add 3 to each of these since we're moving it up. So it's the negative 8 is going to become a negative 5, and the 2 is going to become a 5. 2 plus 3 is 5. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. This would be our new range. Okay, the factoring question. So this one's got a higher power. It's x to the 12th. I want to rewrite that as something to the third power. Okay, so the trick is you take 12 and divide that by 3. You'll get x to the 4th. That's the thing that you have to raise to the third power to get x to the 12th. All right. If you've got 4 of these if you have 3 of these x to the 4ths laying around, that's going to be 12 of them altogether. Minus 1 to the 3rd. So all of my little a's are going to be x to the 4ths, and my b's are going to be 1s. So the answer here is going to be x to the 4th minus 1. All right, that's my a minus b part. And then it's going to be a squared, which is going to be x to the 8th, because you're taking x to the 4th and you're squaring that. And then ab, that's going to be x to the 4th times 1. So that's just x to the 4th. And then b squared, that's just equal to 1. That part's easy. Okay. The graph one here. So this is just a translation function. I guess the answer's already circled there, isn't it? Okay, so what they've done is they've taken the original absolute value function, and it's been translated 2 units to the right and 4 units up. So that's why it's got to be C. When you do 2 to the right, you have to subtract 2 on the inside of the parentheses, and 4 units up, you're going to add 4 on the outside of the function or the parentheses. Okay, 4x plus 9, we want to take this thing and we want to move it 3 units to the right. So g of x minus 3, that's how you would move something 3 units to the right. So I'm just going to go up to my g function and replace the x with an x minus 3. So it's going to be 4 x minus 3 plus 9. Let's see, we can simplify this. It'll be 4x minus 12 plus 9, which becomes 4x minus 3. That'll be our answer. Okay, so these are pretty easy to evaluate. You just got to take some time to actually use a calculator to plug them in. F of 2, let's see here. If we plug in 2 for the x's, 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. minus 4 times 2 is 8. So that's going to leave us with -1. F of 0, you just plug in 0 for all of these x's. So this piece is going to disintegrate, that piece is going to disintegrate, and you're going to be left with -1. So it's probably going to be C, right? Because A and B, neither one of them are greater than the other. If we plug in -3 for the x, it would be 2 times -3 squared minus 4 times -3 minus 1. All right, we would do -3 squared first, exponents. That's going to give us 9, and then 9 times the 2 gives us an 18 for that term. -4 and -3 is going to make it a plus 12 minus 1. This is going to be 30, and then 30 minus 1, 29. So 29 is greater than -1, so that's why C is the answer. Moving on. All right, -10, 8 is on f of x, and we want to know where this point will be mapped to on this transformation. So this is a horizontal, if you check your notes, this is a horizontal compression, actually, not a stretch. So all the points, they're going to be compressed in horizontally. They're going to be sent towards the y-axis is what's going to happen. -10, 8 is going to be somewhere in this neighborhood. -10, 8. And what's going to happen is that the y values are going to stay the same, but this point is going to get pushed inward towards the y-axis here, all right, by a factor of 2. So it was a -10, but whenever you compress it by a factor of 2, oh, excuse me, it's going to become a -5, right? We're basically just dividing it by 2, right? And the y value stays the same. So it's going to stay an 8. All right, the domain of the square root of x is 0 to infinity. And that's because it starts at 0 and it goes to the right forever. What is the domain of this new function? All right, it's being translated 3 units to the left and 7 units up. But only the 3 to the left is going to change the domain. Moving it 7 up doesn't change the left and right of it. So since we're moving to the left 3, it would look something like this. And that means we're going to have to subtract 3 from each of these numbers from the domain. So the new domain is going to be -3 and still to infinity. All right, it's still going to the right forever. All right, last one here. What is the equation of the function graph below? So this is the square root function. But what they're doing is they are flipping it across the x-axis. So they're flipping it upside down. That's going to put a negative on the outside of it. And they're shifting it 2 units down. All right. So you're going to have a negative on the outside and a -2 on the outside as well. And that's going to be the answer. You could always take this and graph it on your calculator and see if it matches the picture in the example. Okay, here's f of x. What do we need to do to flip f of x across the x-axis? There's your function notation. It's negative f of x. But to actually perform that, you're just going to write down the original f of x like that and slap a negative that applies to the whole thing. If you simplify it, you just get -3x plus 10. And that is it. That's our answer.